but like smart aggression on Twitch, because Twitch really has to pick his moments for when to go in, and Wild Turtle's able to do that very well.
And so is Twitch. He's one of the better laners, as you said. You know, a lot of good early game. Being able to pick fights with stealth's all kind of fun. And of course, Curse, this makes so much sense. Of course, they're picking their dual lane right after, and by doing this, I've got to expect they're seeking this fight. Kate Nami is really good at fighting a 2v2. They're very good at bullying, and so TSM plays their hand, and Curse thinks they know exactly what to do to beat it.
And I remember Edward had a perfect game on his first Nami game in the LCS. He had like, I know, 100% kill participation and 0 deaths. He is a very strong Nami, and I like that pick against Twitch, as we said, who is a immobile AD carry who has to pick his spots. And if you pick your wrong spot, since Twitch is kind of like a turret of damage, especially when he tries to open up on you, that just lines up bullets. I actually really like the Nami pick against the Twitch in particular.
Well, we'll see what else they can follow through with the crowd control Chan and the long range champions. TSM going to make their own options here. Had the brief mention of Ahri Nocturne, and we did say, you know, that still fits the TSM playstyle. Go get Reggie and someone who can dive people and kill things off. Nocturne Ahri is locked in. It
hurts their late team fighting a little bit, but that might be made up for by having Sona and Twitch, just having the Ahri Nocturne in there. So obviously TSM is going to look to get some early or at least mid-game edges with Ahri and Nocturne flying around and just killing whoever they want, whereas Curse, they got to try to find a way to pick around that and not get punished in the mid-game.
Let's see if they can do it then. It's going to be a battle of positioning then and getting themselves in the right spot, or just screw it, blow up Twitch. Whatever. You don't have to worry about it anymore. I mean, it's going to be hard, but
hey, you got to worry about Reggie.
Yeah,
but
true.
You don't, you know, unless the odd one builds a bunch of damage on Nocturne, which is not his style, you're not really having to worry about Nocturne either. So,
all right, so the last few picks come in for a Curse, and they're going to say, look, team fighting, and some good split pushing, to be fair, as well. They've grabbed the jungle Nunu in there for St. Vicious. They've also given Kennen up to their other solo laners, so good mix of powers here for Curse.
Yes, Nunu Caitlyn is an old combo in a sense. It used to be a very prevalent duo lane, but then obviously Blood Boil got hit substantially, and also something else, as we'll get to the Renekton pick in a second. The base attack speed on Caitlyn got reduced, which makes attack speed increases less effective, since all attack speed increases are based off your base attack speed multiplier. It's still good, but it's not quite the same as it used to be for them. It should be alright when Comp gets into team fights with it.
Yeah, it's funny because we actually did the numbers to have her be exactly the same with Phantom Dancer, level 18, and Zerg Greaves, and then it's just going worse. A little bit low with Blood Boil. Yeah. A little bit worth of Blood Boil. Of course, as we said, Dyrus has picked up the Renekton. He ran that a heck of a lot in the first split. We've seen it a little bit less this time around in the second half of the year, but some more really individualistic champion picks.
Yeah, it looks like Dyrus is just going to be trying to match up against Voidboy, or they're going for some lane swapping, and Renekton would be someone who can at least dodge around the Nami bubbles and maybe prevent some aggression. We'll have to see how they lane when they get into the game.
So we're going to be into the game very soon. Of course, the load screen underneath us right here in these monitors, you can't see it because you don't need to. You got our pretty faces, and that's more fun than champion art, right? But of course, this game means a lot. As we said, the playoff race is here. If Curse wins, Coast fans, if Curse wins, Coast are out of the playoffs. There's no way they can catch someone for a tiebreak. They can't catch 6th place, and they're going to be the second team relegated. If TSM does win, you still have the chance here that Curse falls down, Coast catches them, goes to 3-way tie with maybe Dignitas, and then move on. Whereas TSM, they've still not lost this week. They're looking for their next perfect super week. They're looking to clinch 3rd place, because with CLG having lost a game, with Curse 2 games back, with Dignitas having lost some games, if TSM wins out, they get 3rd.
Yeah. TSM wants to win out and get 3rd, because that makes it so they don't have to play their friends and rivals in Cloud9, which is very important for them as they move towards the playoffs.
Yeah, they wouldn't match them unless they had both lost and found themselves in the 3rd place match. So we'll see if they can dodge themselves around. TSM making their way out of the base at the top right in red. Team Curse making their way out on the blue side in the bottom left. And we'll see what they end up doing with the level 1s. Right now, actually, a big spread for a Curse, but these guys are going to group together for TSM.
Yeah, very early on, TSM looking to find the advantage, and this is surprising. If I was Curse, and we saw this in the level 1 between Vulcan and Cloud9 yesterday, and you have a type of support who can crowd control a large amount of people with one spell, I would just 5-man wait in one of these brushes, because you would wait in that brush with a bubble and pop up 2 or 3 people and maybe turn something around. But instead, Curse has warded their own jungle and just scattered.
And one thing I want to point out about what Curse has done early on, speaking of wards and whatnot, is St. Vicious went deep utility. He's got 525 starting gold, had an early Explorer ward that he put down to scout out some of the early moves from TSM that TSM probably wouldn't be able to expect very easily, as St. is actually most of the way to a Spirit Stone because of that.
Yeah, and absolutely we can see the early game TSM is just grouping up once again. They have only placed that one early ward, whereas Curse just put a whole bunch of wards all throughout the jungle.
Let's see what they do with this one. The vision definitely a hell of a lot better for Curse right here. Will they get anything out of it? Of course, they do have the new jungle. He's good at stealing things away, and actually, he's matching up against Dyrus in the odd one. He's actually found that Nocturne's on that right-hand side, that Golem side jungle, and Saint wants to steal that away.
Yeah, this is a really sneaky level 1 we have going on right here. Curse is going to try to make this delayed movement, and it looks like they have the people to pressure Odd One right off of this one.
Saint runs on forward, and they're like, guys, leave your jungle, it's ours. And of course, with the pink ward control, TSM can't even see this happening, so Saint should be able to take this one away. There we go, the Consume Smite all at once. And I want to see, did he actually shared experience, I think? Yeah, he shared experience with Cop there, so Saint's not going to be level 2, but Cop's hitting too quickly.
At least since he's new, he's going to be able to get off that a little bit, and this will enhance the 2v1 ability of Curse's duo lane there in that 2v1.
Yeah, so Cop already level 2 right here. St. Vicious doesn't have a smite up, but at least can consume things. Odd One having a kind of rough time in his jungle. Saved his smite, actually. Had to solo the red buff, and is now going to make his way over towards Saint's blue. And of course, TSM has a vision ward over that, so that actually could just be Odd One's.
Yeah, Odd One then just doing the trade. I mean, this is what happens generally when you do an overzealous invade, kind of like Saint did. Because Odd One pulled back and then went straight away so quickly, and because Curse didn't have AD carry support in the lane where that was supposed to protect their blue buff, it's just a natural progression of trading.
So, and actually, in fact, because of the shared XP, also no level 3 yet from Saint. So, ironically enough, Odd One got counter-jungled first, has a level lead. We'll see if that pans out to much more afterwards, but that, as you said, equal trade, bit of an experience advantage. Some of that went over to Cop, and so we'll see now what the junglers do with these 2-on-1 lanes. Right now, it's actually Saint defending Nyjackie up in the top lane, whereas we haven't yet seen Odd One come down, but looks like he's looking also for defense.
Yeah, this is a very odd 2v1 scenario because none of these guys are really pressured too hard in the lane, and most of the early action was about those buff trades, so the lanes themselves do not have much pressure on them.
Interesting. So yeah, the turret's not losing a whole lot of health. The early 2-on-2 is just pretty much defending themselves here, and it's just the last hit battle. Consume, of course, able to easily beat a turret for last hits. That seems pretty successful there from Saint. While Turtle actually taking a bit of damage, the Ice Blast and everything else making life a bit difficult. Saint is putting points in Ice Blast. He's got 2 ranks in that right now, and we're just kind of watching turret defense, basically.
It's strange that Saint would pick the Nunu for early turret defense instead of aggressive counter jungling this early on in the game. We have to see if this ends up working out for him because yes, he got the blue buff taken down, but other than that, he hasn't outpaced himself or differentiated himself from the Odd One. And when you think about Nunu's tools, lane babysitting is not near the top of that list.
Hey, look at that. The Odd One actually has gone and jungled. He got his Wraith camp. He's going to go towards the Wolves when that spawns back up. And Odd One is basically doing more than Saint now. He's got a minion kill lead. He's gone back down to the bottom lane, and he'll be there in time for Dyrus' turret to take damage.
Yeah, I don't really see where the ganks are going to be coming from directly unless maybe the Nocturne Renekton lane if Comp and Edward overcommit, or just a long train down with Saint and Nyjackie if they have the damage.
They might just try a lot of pain on Wild Turtle, who burns his barrier. Exhaust as well being traded down. So Summoner Spell has already dropped out. Saint using his Flash, but not much else.
Yeah.
Special has some mana, though. He can keep Wild Turtle topped off.
I'm very confused by this gameplay, where St. Vicious and Jackie are essentially doing a Kennen AD carry Nunu support lane against 2 much more experienced support AD carry players, and I don't see them coming out on this on top, and I feel like Saint should be using his lane ability to his jungle ability to just counter them.
Well, sure. I mean, compare the junglers and the guys who are in the middle of the scoreboard right there. Jackie and Dyrus both in 1v1 lanes, or, 1v2 lanes. 15 to 16 in minions compared to the junglers 14 to 18. You're just absolutely right. TSM are kind of getting the better of this. The AD carries even. Wild Turtle slightly outpacing Comp as well. And then just, by the way, Reggie's beating Voyboy 1v1.
Yeah, by the way, that's one of the nice things they're able to do. But those are, very low side lane, well, not very low, semi-low side lane numbers, despite being babysat so much. It almost seems like they're trading a fair bit of minion kills between the jungler and the side laner. This isn't really giving any team that much of a gain. It's almost like they're just trading time.
Yeah.
At this point.
They're just scaling up.
And they both think they're going to scale up more because neither team is making a move, and they're laning actually incredibly equally compared to each other.
That's one thing to think about, I guess, because we do have, right on one side, you've got the Blood-Boiled Caitlyn. Okay, it's a little bit weaker than Season 2 values, but, it's still Blood-Boiled Caitlyn. That's not a bad thing to have in your team. You got Kennen and Zed, you've got Nami, they all tend to do pretty well late game. And I'm thinking about Twitch, right? Because Twitch is all kinds of scary late game. He's got Spray and Pray, oh dear God, it's so worrisome, but with, Zed and Kennen wreaking havoc, I mean, maybe Curse just does say, yeah, you know what? Wild Turtle won't have an easy game here. Reggie won't hard carry, and Kopp will win the game for us.
And I'm thinking we're going to see a lot of late game battles between Voyboy and Reginald. Just because Reginald's generally the one who will be off on the side and try to stop the split pusher. And Zed is just the guy who goes and split pushes. Because I think if they get into team fights, TSM doesn't have protection tools for Wild Turtle if Voyboy decides to jump on him, and that could just end very badly for TSM.
It's actually, you talk about the split pushes, and I'm actually curious about that as well. Just because we think back to last time Curse played Kennen, and it was Voyboy on Kennen, and he had teleport, and he played the split push that was against Dignitas.
Yeah, that worked very well.
And he had the teleport Lichbane Nexus kill at the very end, but that Kennen is now the teleport on Jackie. Even though Voyboy is our de facto Curse split pusher, Jackie's set up to be that man because the TP. It's curious, but they've almost gone against their standard game plan with this one. Even if you're right, I would generally count Voyboy as the guy who would duel Reggie. So all kinds of just different things happening for Curse. It'll be fun to watch. Dyrus, though, finally getting some time alone in this lane to farm out and just pushes the wave away as fast as possible right before Kopp and Edward show back up.
And still, very low amounts of action at the start of this game. St. Vicious picking the Nunu, but then just not deciding to counter jungle with it. Really just, at this point, you're picking Nunu for maybe late game Dragon Baron control, and then obviously the late game Caitlyn. But he definitely has not taken any early game liberties with counter jungle.
Well, right now, and think about it, the timer for blue buff is already passed, the red buff already grabbed by Odd1 as well, but there we go, the early dragon control potentially here. Smite is up for Saint and not for Odd1. Their whole team is basically here, and Jackie has teleport.
Exactly, the teleport is what's threatening right here, but he used to consume, so it would be a Smite War, and there's a fight.
Okay, he picked up the dragon, the battle has begun. Voyboy jumping in, Wild Turtle dropped dangerously low on health. The kill comes in from Reginald, but it's going to get traded back. Early kills coming across, Odd1 finds another, Wild Turtle survives, and Void does not grab one. So 2 for 1, but a dragon for Curse.
And Saint, gotta give him props, didn't use a Nunu consume, but did get the Smite secure. That's something that has been plaguing Curse all split. Inability to secure buffs with Smite, but they get that one, and it gives them the first small advantage of really the entire game.
They did have to use the teleport, though, from Jackie, which means Dyrus has been alone in the top lane. Good spell shield from the Odd1, but yeah, Dyrus having his sort of way with this building down here, clears off the minions, has another wave hitting this, and it's down below 1/4 at this point. Jackie finally making his way up to defend it.
Yeah, obviously, since the first 8 minutes are past, the turrets no longer have that extra armor bonus, so turrets are just as pushable as they would be at any point of any previous patch here. So finally, maybe the turret game will start progressing since these 2v1 lanes could advance, but exactly at that moment, the 2v2 lanes actually decide to lane against each other to maybe prevent that from happening.
So more laning phase here for Curse and TSM. It's like CLG for CLG, guys, and we've got interesting battles going on. 10 minutes in. The gold, of course, very close, but as we said, it was a dragon versus a 1-kill gained team fight, so that does give Curse the lead here. Up 600. Voyboy sent back in here to duel against Reginald, now that he's wearing a blue buff. And of course, mind you that Reggie's was taken by Jackie in the last fight. There was actually a buff advantage here in this lane for Voy when battling Reggie.
That is a very good thing to note. And also, Reginald hasn't built too much survivability, and Voyboy would love to aggress here, but knowing Reginald has the 1 level advantage, and I guess the health from the Doran's rings is keeping him a little bit at bay. Also note how Reggie is staying so far back in that lane, so if Voyboy did dive him, he would be taking turret aggro.
That is one thing to be aware of. You can try to juke skill shots. You don't so much juke turret shots with Shadows, so you always got to be a bit careful there. But he's really just playing the push game for now. Reggie, right, letting him take the minions down, throwing razor shurikens, but otherwise saying, yeah, all right, just you can't dive me. I'll keep scaling up, no big deal. Savicious does get spotted though on his way to the bottom half of the map. Curse TSM, I should say, will know about this.
Wild Turtle's got to play this one safe. I wonder if TSM's going to try to hatch a counter gank.
Because nearby.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything's happening here. They get the ping down onto St. Vicious, and nothing doing with that one.
Okay, they saw him leave. I'm going to go back, clearing his wolves. 49 minutes for him, only 36% Vicious. Just clearing away his double golem camp, but making his way back down towards the bottom lane. I mean, there is ward control here for Curse. They've pink warded the lower brush, so Saint can walk right through that one. The second brush, they know it's safe as well. And Abun, though, reading this he's actually come back down to this lane.
Yeah, and Wild Turtle might be trying to go in. TSM forcing this one in, but they run into a Nunu.
No, the bubble won't quite land, but the crescendo does land against Saint. The dive comes across. Who's going to take the damage? Caught getting jumped on, gets feared, cleanses it away. Still running. Expunge, though, takes him down. Wild Turtle, great job right there. The 3v3 going TSM's way.
They went right through the zone control of St. Vicious right there and just straight through to Cobb, and that's the reason that gank was able to work. Odd One outpacing St. Vicious' position, even though it seemed like St. Vicious had the element of surprise.
It was a beautiful job. The only guy absolute zeroed was the Sona, and TSM are rewarded with a turret. Even Reggie comes down to make sure a roam won't change anything. So now the first turret of the game has gone TSM's way. They have an 800 gold lead for themselves as well, thanks to the earlier kill, as well as that structure. So TSM turned it on pretty well in the mid game.
Yeah, that was a really good move by them, and that's the experience that TSM has running with Nocturne.
Yeah.
How many games in Season 2 did we see where we saw the Odd One or Reginald just helping out with the gank, and they just all in with Sona, and we'd see Chaos pick up a kill or two? It's exactly the same thing they did there with Wild Turtle on Twitch, and they're looking to maybe get him a little bit farmed and fed as this game moves on.
And what's funny, actually, is you mentioned how familiar they are with the Nocturne. Curse actually just pinged where their ward was and where Nocturne ulted from, that tri-brush in the bottom right corner. They're like, how didn't we see him? We warded there. Well, no, he was in the brush the whole time. We wouldn't have seen him.
Sneaky.
And even beyond that, right, the fact that he stayed in the brush knowing, oh yeah, teams ward there sometimes, hide from it, ult from there. Just a lot of really cool things going TSM's way with that one. Good mind games, 500 gold lead. And now, with Dragon a minute and a half away, you've still got the Nunu who's good there for buff control. It worked from the first time. We'll see if that's where Curse's next move ends up being.
And it is a good thing that gank was successful, because if we revisit the minion kills right there, we can see Cop and Edward were actually kind of crushing Wild Turtle next special, because Nami is, and even Caitlyn, great picks against a Twitch lane. It's a matter of survival unless he's getting the ganks and is able to go aggressive. So TSM almost restricted in this lane for when they can do things based on the cooldown of the Odd One's ult.
And that is all kinds of scary because it's a pretty long ultimate cooldown. You've still got a while to go. However, Saint has not put more than 1 point into his blood boil yet. So as far as getting to late game there, right, Wild Turtle in a survival lane, but heck, again, you got spray and pray. Well, right now, Wild Turtle will kind of keep outpacing Cop in team fights. Saint, though, just showing up and saying, you know, element of surprise, screw it. I'm just going to walk into the lane with blood boil the AD carry, but they don't find anything for it.
That's what he's been doing the whole game, which to me doesn't really justify the Nunu pick. He has been into the Odd One's jungle once, and for the most part has just turned himself into a laner. If this is Curse's strategy, maybe it'll work out for them because the gold is still close and their lanes are actually doing quite well overall. But I feel like you could do that with any jungler. If he was Nasus, he'd be doing this job but creating more lane pressure.
We'll see if the Blood Bow ends up making up for it at the very end of the game. Dragon has come back up, and here we go. Just on cue, Curse walks right over, says, guys, we can go for Dragon. The teleport is back up for Nijaki. They put a pink ward down on the Dragon pit. They know there's not a lot of direct vision, but Saint taking a bit of damage from Reggie. Gets healed by Edward, though.
The Dragon is definitely important here. We can see Jackie wants to teleport down, but that's why Dyrus is preemptively running down so the TSM can actually control this area. And a mid-game team fight against Kennen, who is level 10, might actually be decent since that ultimate is not crushing people yet. Unless Jackie could hit 11, he's teleporting in behind at level 10. We might see the fight.
And see if these guys can do it. TSM has begun the battle. The dive comes on board. Jackie just diving right in, but of course it's been exhausted. Dragon goes down, and now Jackie's going to fall as well. 2 kills and a dragon picked up. And Ricardo the Crescendo flashes the charm, but the battle's already been won by TSM. Curse are now in retreat mode. Beautiful battle for Team Solo Mid.
Dragon and the kills for TSM because they timed that and predicted exactly what Curse was doing. That's one of the things that happens if you're telegraphing all your movements on a jungler, is it allows the other team to take stock of everyone on your team and make great decisions.
Bubble ends on Adaris, but that won't mean too much. The turret going down. TSM well rewarded for that fight. Built themselves a 3,000 gold lead, and they're still in command here.
Yeah, and in that fight, Saintfishes wasn't even able to get off his absolute zero on Nunu because TSM had just killed him so quickly, as Saintfishes kind of had to go in alone to try to get the smite steal and got pumped down with a bunch of damage.
Yeah, he was alive for absolutely 0 seconds that fight. Let's watch the replay of that battle.
Yeah, so as you can see, Jackie tried to get the ultimate. Before it started, Saint was super low. He was actually kind of getting... He only had one objective on his mind there, and that was the dragon, but he forgot about all the people that were killing him as he was running through, and it just allowed TSM to cruise through that fight.
Well done by these guys. The red team holding out well, and Coast has got to be happy about this one. If TSM, again, can win, that keeps Coast's playoff hopes alive. And Curse, they're looking for third, and with a loss here, it's going to make that much more difficult for them. But they can try. TSM still looking to make some moves forward. They've got the lane starting to push on down. They've actually moved Wild Turtle towards the top side of the map. That's I mean, they've already got all 3 outer turrets, so...
Might get stolen.
No smite is up, but it's just going to be the attack onto Void. Void down below half HP. Wild Turtle shows up as well. Dodge with the ulti, and look at the escape moves there. Void by making his way out. Thanks especially to the Blade of the Rune King.
And meanwhile, Reginald just explodes Jackie down below, allowing TSM to take complete control despite the great escape by Void.
Very well done. The bubble's going to land. Spell should have buy the odd one, but Reggie knocked up. Doesn't matter too much, though. Blue Buff is given control towards TSM. It's going to go their way pretty easy right here. Oblin stops attacking, says, Reggie, go ahead and let's hit that. Thank you very much. Them still looking great. 4,500 gold up.
We've seen a lot of these Deathfire Grasp Aries really catching people off guard right as they hit that item threshold. And there's only a few like assassin-based champions that work so well with Deathfire Grasp. And you were talking earlier about how it may seem a little strange how Ahri would build that, since DFG amps magic damage and Ahri has that true damage component with your Q. But just because she has such an assassin-based playstyle, it's still enough to go in, get that one target, and just fly back out. And since so much of her damage is magic, you just end up seeing her blowing people up in the mid-game. Yeah, we ended up sort of figuring out that there were sort of 3 major styles of builds. We're going to watch that kill real quick, though, of Jackie getting caught. Yeah, it was just charm landed, which just allowed everything else to go down. It was perfectly executed by Reginald. Max range charm and everything. So beautiful job right there, Reggie, making that one happen. But yeah, we decided there were kind of like a few main build paths where the bruiser sort of guys, guys like Zach, Elise, Diana, who have to sit in the front lines. They get like the magic pen because there's some tankiness inside of it. Yes. And they can get some health on top afterwards. The single target burst, just DFG because it amps single target. So LeBlanc or Ahri would go for that. Whereas the big like hardcore mages with a lot of guys, yeah, that like Karthus or something. Karthus, Victor, those guys, they just build AP because you can't DFG a whole team. Those are sort of the main builds we sort of realized. Figured it out. Yep. So, DFG working for the single target champions and moving on from there. So, Curse, though, unfortunately, they've not been finding a lot for themselves for a while. They had the one moderately okay dragon fight where they got the dragon for the advantage. Other than that, though, they've not really found a lot for themselves, unfortunately. It's TSM making all the pushes, TSM controlling the objectives. Jackie getting bullied around a little bit, but here comes the push. They've looked and found Dyrus here. Double ulti's coming across. A lot of pain. There's the pop from the death mark, and will it be enough? Narc ulti blinding out. Boyboy still on the chase. Though. One hit to go through. Reggie gets a kill off in the mid lane, actually. Dyrus not refusing to go down as well. Ever getting chased, especially with the flash Q, and Dyrus actually lived the whole time, so a 2 for 0 and a turret for TSM. Things went from bad to really bad for Curse after that one. So much invested trying to chase down the 002 Dyrus. TSM just pulled the trigger in the mid lane once they realized there were 2 people trying to chase him down. made some big impact plays.
Absolutely huge. So TSM, it's just we're beating a dead horse at this point, but they're making great plays. They're finding the openings, the engages, the aggressive Reginald popping his ult. By the way, 4-1-2. He's been a part of 6 of his team's 8 kills so far, and it's been that way for him. Reggie, they tried to ban him out. They got rid of the Twisted Fate. They got rid of the Carthage. They got rid of the Globals. And he was like, I'll just dash 3 times. That's good enough for me.
And Ari definitely fits Reginald, at least in the current incarnation of TSM. We mentioned yesterday that he was second in the LCS in deaths, because a lot of times this season when we're watching TSM, we'll see Reginald go way in front of the rest of the team, die, and then the team wouldn't follow him up. But even if that happens on Ari, since Ari is such an individual champion, he's got 3 dashes, so he can go and kill a person and get out individually, and then the team can follow up kind of at their leisure. And while it can get the same benefits if everything's going well, it allows him to make plays even if the communication is not completely perfect.
And that's worked, of course, for these guys. TSM still undefeated on Super Week here at the very end of the split. And Curse, though, still looking for their way forward. You've got this team pushing up the top lane. Wild Turtle, though, going invisible. Odd One nearby. Special sweeping out wards. Will they find the engage? Even Dyrus is flanking around. TSM still looking for blood. There we go, the slow from Cop. They're still trying to run the slow off into Dyrus, but Dyrus going to land the stun on Edwards. Saint tries to zone the team out with absolute 0. Does a pretty good job with that one, but they're just trying to run. Now Jagged comes in from the side. He's been exhausted, though. Will it be enough? Special does drop down. 1 kill picked up. Curse might find the comeback here. The trap lands on a Dyrus. He's losing health. The ulti, and Dyrus is gone. Double kill here for Cop. Reggie on the side split push, but a 2-for-1 is something finally for Curse.
And Reginald is not the fastest split pusher, and TSM went really hard through an absolute zero that they could not interrupt. That was pretty much the ideal team fight for Curse there, since they got an absolute zero, and then Nijaki got his slicing Maelstrom off on most of the team. More stuff like that is what Curse needs to come back in this game. Reggie actually ended up burning DFG and not getting much in that bottom lane. So.
Yeah, and his ultimate. And Void just shadowed away and was fine. So Reggie missing on a couple of cooldowns now, but might be rewarded with a red buff steal. The rest of Curse are moving towards him, though. Can Reggie do enough damage? Void's definitely going to see that, and it is picked up by Reggie, but there comes the jump in. Look at the pain coming across. He has Flash, but it's not enough. Flash is burned. Double buff transfer complete for Void, and now Dragon started.
And this could just be a continuation of TSM making a couple errors. Curse really having an opportunity to get back, still 5,000 gold down, but looking to take this Dragon.
Double buff on Void Boy, control over the Dragon, smite and consume both up for Saint. That's going to be theirs. Good pickup. Blue team finding their way back in. Now 1-5 in turrets. They've got to make up this score. They got 15 seconds to Reggie revives. We'll see if they can find something out of this.
All of this really happening off of TSM's over-aggression in the top lane. And this move continues because Reginald is still dead after this one. TSM trying aggressively to farm this wave out. Curse continuing the push.
And look at the wave clear available. Dyrus ran into the team, just took Cold and back out, and combined with Expunge, that actually got rid of most of the minions here. So even in a basically 4v5, TSM was able to defend the turret, only losing some health on it. So they hold on to a just shy of 5,000 gold lead. And we'll see what else they can look for here, because their wave clear is good, and they still feel like the team in control.
And just to note, Dyrus is actually maxing his Slice and Dice second on Renekton. I like that choice on him just for the increased wave clear. Even if you're not spiking for as much damage in team fights, it's still a good choice for your overall team versatility. I see most Renektons play that way.
Yeah, I look at a lot, especially, you talk about team fight versatility, right? They've got Wild Turtle there trying to shred people with spray and pray. So, yeah, whether you're armor pending for the team or even just for the mobility, it's a good build. I like it. And so, Dyrus helping out the team as well as being mobile. Voyboy, you called him on the split push. He is the guy down here in the bottom lane. And he beat Reggie last time, to be fair. He burned his ultimate, killed him afterwards. Void wearing the double buff still as prize from that. So, there it is.
And it's always fun, these duels, because Zhonya's Hourglass has been completed by Reginald. And there's a lot of skill that's involved in these matchups. Everyone's dashing around if they end up fighting each other. I feel like Reggie's just going to go for Void. Void trying to turn it.
Tries to dodge, lands a couple of abilities right here, but there's the charm. This could be enough, and it is. Reggie winning that duel outright. Beautiful job.
He didn't even need the Zhonyas. I mean,
yes, late.
Yeah, the death mark detonated, but Voyboy didn't get that much damage down during the death mark, so it couldn't even finish him off.
And Saint forced a flash away. The fear tether from Alan would have been enough. Dyrus knocked into the air, but doesn't matter too much. So right now, in Cop, Curse trusts. He's 2-1-1, 237 minions, has the most minions of anyone in the game, has the most kills of anyone on his team, least deaths as well, but it might just not be enough. Look how little damage Dyrus takes.
Cop's going to need to get a lot stronger for them to win this game, since they're putting so many donuts in the Cop basket right now, because he has the Nunu buff, and he is their primary source of damage. Plus, Voyboy's not even doing that well this game. It's actually going to turn into one of those all-about Cop games, since Curse is so far behind.
And it's one of the cool things I actually like about Cop this split. He's done a much better job of being that player, the standout player, the one who carries. I still remember back at MLG, the quadra kill on Draven. It was just like, Curse having a really rough season, really rough game, and then Cop was like, I got this, guys, and like dunked a bunch of people, and it turned the game around. This is one of those Cop please do it games. And
yeah.
You know, he's doing well. He's done the standard, I want to build 6 items carry build, the IH Phantom Dancer, so he's got the highest ceiling possible for an AD carry.
Yes.
And we'll see if he can keep going upwards.
And in particular, to touch on that MLG game that happened back in Week 3 of the summer split, it was fairly similar to this one. Maybe even TSM had a larger lead. At one point, it was 8 turrets for TSM to 2 turrets for Curse, and TSM over-aggressed in the Curse base to create that quadra kill. And even in this game, the way the Curse has at least stayed in here to even keep it at 5,000 gold was based off a TSM play where TSM over-aggressed. And it's a strange thing when that happens to TSM, because they play so much about being the initiator and hitting the other team before they can come back at them. Yet that has been the thing that has burned them against this Curse team, and I wonder if that will create any hesitation for TSM as they try to close out this game.
I definitely wonder, and you kind of look at the items and still see that Curse is kind of playing the all-about Cop game, because Aegis has come through for Saint. He is playing more supportive here as the Nunu, the really only tank on the team. Voyboy is still trying to play Assassin, though, for himself. Jackie, by the way, did actually, early rush on the Zhonya's, dodged a couple abilities with that one. Reggie had burned his ulti to go in on that one, so trading a Zhonya's with the ulti there, but the turret going down for TSM.
Yeah, Jackie actually dodged everything. The DFG was mid-flight when he popped that Zhonya, so it looked like a foolish use of the Zhonya's by the time we saw it, but it was actually perfect.
Yeah.
But because of the threat that Reginald was creating by himself, TSM, as you said, was able to create that turret kill.
And there is a lower cooldown on DFG than Zhonya's at 60 versus 90 seconds. Even lower if Reggie ended up going for the Mastery, just to lower item cooldown even farther, and that's always a potential right here. TSM, of course, they're playing. It's interesting to watch them play this.
Whoa, here they go.
The hard engage, they're on to Edward. He's just exploding right there.
Look at Turtle.
Turtle's flashed into the base to get the kill here, but he's now alone, and that's not a Thresh on his team. He can't get over the wall, but the rest of the team flashes forward. They just want this engaged. Saint Vicious in the middle of the team, but it's a kill onto a special. Cop is destroying. Double kill for Cop. Another kill picked up. That one for Saint Vicious. The ulti off on a Reginald. He's going to go down. That whole team just turned into Reginald, but it was a 2 for 3. TSM losing that one.
Turtle went crazy in that fight. He lost his mind as he flashed into the base. TSM was thinking they were going to win the game off of that fight, but in reality, they give 2 kills back to the worst person. Let's check this out. They go so hard onto Edward. I don't know what else. He was trying to kill Jackie at the start of that, but then you can see the rest of TSM was trapped outside, and then kind of one after the other, not necessarily in sync. TSM flashed in afterwards, and Cop was able to use the turret for his safety there, which was so beneficial. And the last thing to mention in that fight was Reginald had already burned his ultimate prior, so you saw he didn't have it until the very end, which was probably the person they needed to have it if they wanted to get to Cop.
So wonderful stuff then. Very well done by Curse. Cop sitting in the background, not really touched so much in that battle. The Dragon again going down, and that makes 3 of 4 for Curse. Yeah, they're still 5,000 gold behind, but those Dragons are really what's keeping them in here. So at the very least, Saint is holding the buff control with his jungle champion. Okay, no early game ganks. Okay, and no crazy jungle pressure, but heck, if you're going to rely on Cop, screw it, blood boil and take Dragons.
This is very reminiscent of that Week 3 MLG game, and TSM doesn't want that to happen again, which is why they're going for this Baron. They can kill this relatively quickly Curse needs to make a decisive move to get up there. Reginald's going to try to assassinate Cop on the way.
He's going to pop the Zonias.
This is brilliant.
Oh, this could be all kinds of crazy. Bubble does not even land on the Reggie, and he gets the shutdown kill onto Cop while the rest of his team is still taking this down. Jackie will not stop the Baron attempt. Really good move there. Dragon for a 1-for-1 TSM's lead.
That's one of those deaths for Reginald that is the reason he's near the top in the LCS.
Yeah.
But that's also one of the reasons TSM is in 3rd place.
There we go. Jackie forced to run away from the odd one. Had to burn his flash for it, but that's a cooldown trade I'll probably take if I'm TSM. I'm waiting on Reggie to revive anyway. So solo mid holding on strong here, almost more than 6,000 gold in the lead. We're in 4 of 5 in the Baron buff, and they'll push again soon when Reggie's back up.
Just can't say enough about that Reginald Ari play.
No, that was great.
The fact that he essentially took 4 people's on Curse's attention, still got the shutdown kill, and then gave the team the Baron. That makes TSM feel a lot better about Cop having a lot of gold. The fact that Reginald was able to do that to him, as well as get the Baron on. And then Cop, since he's going for the full damage build, since he really needs to, doesn't have room to build that Negatron cloak yet that's exactly what he needs to survive Reginald. Yeah,
it's actually interesting. We talk about the kill trade that happened. You know, normally an assisted kill is worth more than a kill because you get 50% bonus gold. But Cop was worth 500, so Reggie got 500 gold for that one. Reggie maybe he didn't die recently, maybe he was actually worth a lot, but an assisted like normal kill is worth 450 because 300 and a half.
Yes.
Yeah. So like, if that was a 300 gold Reggie kill, he actually went cash positive despite giving away an assist, which I think is really funny based on the Reginald play style.
And the real cash positive thing was the Baron.
Yeah,
that
the was a little bit bigger.
Got, which now TSM's going to use to try and take this turret down. They shouldn't be hesitant of the failed ganks before, and I'd expect TSM to try to go in very quickly. Look at how aggressively they're posturing at this turret.
Bubba doesn't land on much. No tidal wave coming across yet. The dive on a Voyboy. Voyboy ulting back off, looking for Reginald. Voyboy forced to run away. He does survive, though. Can Cop do enough damage? A beautiful Bubba lands onto 3, but Cop is taking so much pain. Forced to run away. Shirelli is used as well. Look at the dive in there. Ari finding a double kill. Another one for Nocturne. Wild Turtle getting a kill with the poison as well. That is a 4-for-0 to TSM's favor, and they're going to move in for the Nexus. This should be absolutely theirs.
The timing on the Reverie from X Special was exquisite in that fight. Being able to let TSM chase down for the end of that kill was perfect. It's good that TSM was not scared of diving despite having some bad experiences, and it gets them the win.
Very, very well played. You're hearing them yell back and forth between each other right now, and it's that loud smiley voice where he's like, "Yeah, man, that dive was so cool." It's one of those games where you know you had fun playing it, where you're just like telling stories afterwards. It's not those like, "Oh, guys, we barely made that and you're quiet." It's not one of those, "Oh my God, we threw that and you're quiet." It's like, "Guys, that was hilarious. That was a fun game."
One thing I've learned about League of Legends is tower diving is very fun.
Oh, yeah.
Just knowing that a team cannot escape you when you have the movement speed advantage like TSM did with the Sona and the Shirelia's Reverie, plus all the assassination potential from Reginald's incredibly farmed Ari. They had fun at the end of the game, and that's very important for TSM, who, when they were losing, they kept talking about business over and over again, but what they need to get back to, as many of them have said, is the fun, because that's when they were winning the most.
Exactly, and it's crazy looking at the players who have excelled or come out of nowhere. Kind of, again, calling back, talking to Meteos before we started casting today, he was like, "Yeah, I just kind of played normal games and just kind of played to have fun, and I played ranked and shot up to 2,600. Like in Season 2, he's just like, "Yeah, I was just playing, and apparently I was really good at the game." And he had studied some other players as well partway through and, had borrowed styles from other players, but he's like, "Yeah, I was just having fun. Turns out I was really good at the game."
So, to touch back then, you're better at this than I am.
All right.
Since TSM won, that means Coast is still in the running.
Yes, Coast is still safe here. They're going to still look for, I believe, a 3-way tie. So Dignitas started the week 2 games above Coast, and they've both gone 0-3, so there's still that 2-game difference. Curse had started the week equal with Coast, has won 2 games. So they're also 2 games above Coast. So basically what needs to happen, Coast 2-0s, and Coast plays Curse.
Yes.
So Coast can actually make one of those games happen there. Dig has to keep losing. Coast has to go 2-0, and Curse has to win, has to lose against their other opponent, which is CLG.
Yeah,
and then basically